Hello, it's Jay. It's a dark episode for August the 5th, 2022. We went downtown today. Ja had an appointment, so afterwards we went to the Dutch bakery and had had some lunch. We're both kind of I was slightly exhausted just from the amount of energy I seem to be carrying around lately. I'll get halfway through the day and be like, "Mrrr," and that's indeed what how I was. Ja was like, oh, she'd had a physio, so she was like kind of also fairly wobble. But we got to sit in the Dutch bakery, which, you know, it's been a while since I've been in there. They've spaced things out more. There's not as much space there because of we're still in kind of COVID setup times. Not that we're basically downtown. There's maybe 5% or less of the people who are walking around with masks in general. And I mean, we went into the restaurant and we took off our masks in the restaurant and interacted with a waitress without a mask on. But, what are you going to do? 95% of the time we were downtown, we had masks on, unlike most of the people. It's interesting sitting in Dutch Bakery because it's a place that I've known since I've lived in Victoria, right back in the late 80s, 90s. We would go there, and it was like, oh, you know, we're now. I was thinking about that. It's like looking around. We're now, well, not the old. There was the little old ladies who you'd always see at Dutch Bakery, and there's still little old ladies, but we're now late in our 50s, so we're getting closer to the little old ladies than to the perhaps the young 20-year-olds who are going to the university there. We're closer to that age. So it's one of these places. It hasn't changed. It's changed, but it hasn't changed that much. And it's like, oh, we've lived here. We met here in the 80s, 90s. We moved away. We went to a lot of other places, moved back to the island, and then the last 5 years we've moved back to Victoria. So it's one of these places that it's like, oh, it's a bit of a touchstone of one of these places in Victoria which has remained the same. I think about A&W Sound, where I had my first job in Victoria, is no longer there. Don't really hang around the university, but the university has changed quite a bit in the meantime. Yeah, it's just one of these kind of touchstone places, I suppose. It's where you become aware of the passage of time and think, wow, I'm so glad I'm so glad I'm me now than the me that was then, and a lot more together, more secure in who I am, in my place in the world, in a way, which is all an illusion, and tomorrow something could happen and it could all be destroyed, which is a nice thought. But yeah, it's just interesting to it's one of those places where you go like, I am a moment in time, and this is a place where I get echoes of past moments, of how many times I've been in this little this kind of diner restaurant, which has got these hamburgers that we have all the time, bacon and cheese hamburger. I don't eat the Sacre Torte there anymore because I nearly puked out everything of myself over about 3 days because they changed the formula and I don't have that anymore. But I still have the chocolate there. It's just one of these places where there's not great memories, but there's also just a lot of like, oh, I was this age, I was this age, I was this age. I don't have too many places like that. I don't go back to Kelowna where I was born and had my first 17 years. I haven't been there for decades now and don't really have a desire to get back to it. Though it's probably you know, 10 hours from here, 2 hours for the ferry, and then 8 hours I could drive and be there. But yeah, I've got no desire to be there. But in Victoria, there's places that like, yeah, yeah, I remember this from a ways back. Yeah, so that's my little trip down memory lane tonight. I've been Jay. More videos later.